Red Hawk Media. Today we're going to be talking about how to do video in a video or picture in picture. This is an extremely useful feature if you're creating like a montage or if you are throwing together kind of a multi-clip sequence, or if quite possibly you're working on an outro for like maybe a YouTube channel or something like that, and you want to give a preview of what your previous videos or your next videos may look like coming up. So I'm going to show that. That way it'll take care of both of the things, and it'll also relate to what we're working on here in class. So to begin with, I've opened up iMovie and I've started a new project here, and it's got no theme, it's just a basic project. So I'm going to start dragging in my video clips that I've got here. Now to begin with, I'm not going to start with a video clip, I'm actually going to start with just a JPEG. And if you don't have a JPEG, I'll show you another option that you can go ahead and use. So I'm going to go ahead and grab an outro template that was kind of made for me here. And this was just put together in Photoshop. And it's saved as a JPEG, and I can drag that right into my workspace here. Now by default it creates it as a 4-second clip, and you can see when I mouse over it, it does this funky zooming in effect here. Now I want to get rid of that actually. I just want it to stay static so that it's the same all the way through. So if I go up to my adjustments here and I go to the cropping feature, I can actually take off what it's doing right now, which is the Ken Burns effect, which it has a starting place and then it zooms out to an ending place, and you can see that by the boxes here. You can adjust these to be opposites and that, and it's kind of a neat effect if you're looking for like a like a slideshow for pictures and you want to emphasize certain things, or if you want to slow zoom throughout a sequence. It's kind of neat. For our purposes though, we're just going to click on Fit so that the picture stays the same. Now when I mouse over this, or I go through here, you can see there's no movement whatsoever here. So that's kind of nice. Now the second part of this is I've got in my background picture, and again, if you don't have a picture, that's alright. We can use some of the stuff that's already in here. You can go to Titles, and you can just drag in a title. It doesn't matter which title, but you can drag in any of them, and it will automatically create a black background for you. Now, obviously the name and description thing, we don't want to see that, so if I double click on the clip itself, I can come up here and now I can delete those things out of here. So now I have a plain black background for 4 seconds, and I can stretch that out in any direction that I want for that whole time here. So if you wanted to, you could put your picture-in-picture on top of this, and then you've got that. You might be able to also use some of the backgrounds that are in here. They've got a lot of pre-made ones like curtains and the organic background and the blobs one underwater. It's kind of a neat effect. These are all pretty standard to iMovie and have been for the last like 5 years. So it gives you kind of an idea, but it would work the same way. I just take one of these. Let's say I wanted to work with the industrial mesh looking one here. I take that, I just drag it down here, and again it creates a 4-second clip for me. Okay, now I'm going to just get rid of those for the time being. You may be using those, but what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to do the actual picture-in-picture feature here. So now I've got video that's already made, and this is going to be the video that you'll be grabbing off of the cameras and importing and going through that process. But I've got video that's already exported to my desktop. It's yesterday's tutorial, at least the first part of it. So I'm going to grab that. You can see that it's an MP4, so it's a usable or compatible file with iMovie, and I'm going to go ahead and drag that in. Now if we take a look at this, you can see I've got the beginning part of my tutorial here all lined up. Now this, you can see how it would be handy to kind of preview this video if I were creating an outro to a YouTube channel, like if I wanted other people to know about these videos that were being posted on my channel. Now right now I've got 2 layers here. I got my JPEG layer on the bottom, and then I've got my actual video layer on top of that. Now I want to make it so that the video layer is actually sitting on the JPEG layer as a picture-in-picture. So with that layer selected, I can go up here, and I've got this new box that actually pops up here, and it's called Video Overlay Settings. The nice thing about this is there's a lot of different features in here. It's useful for cutaways, it's useful for green screen or blue screen, side by side, and what we're going to be doing today is picture-in-picture. So I go ahead and click on picture-in-picture, And you can see my video gets readjusted to this small box here. Now, our idea here, what we're going to do so that we have to import and export multiple times and get used to the process is we're going to create a nine sequence picture-in-picture setup here. And you have to do that, unfortunately, one by one. I can't drag in more layers on top of iMovie here. So I'm going to set this one up, and then I'm going to export it. And then I'm going to import it back in and set up another picture-in-picture, and this will make sense in a little bit. But what I need to do is I need to get this resized so that it will actually be thirds. So I can put 3 going across this way, and I can go 3 going across this way. Now, iMovie has a handy feature on here that's kind of nice. I can use the guides that they provide for me to kind of size this out. So right now, just by judging very quickly, we may have a little bit of overhang on this, which is fine. Let's see the top of the video there. That's pretty close. Okay, and if I have a little border, that's all right too. Now, what's going to happen is I'm going to go ahead and center this first one, and I can see with the 2 guides, the yellow lines here, that this is completely centered. Okay, now with an all black background, this will work perfectly for a 9-picture sequence. And this is how I would go ahead and export it. For my purposes, talking about the outro, I've already got a box that's created for this, and I can resize that accordingly so that it fits that box. And you can make little adjustments here to test it out. So it comes in, all that. Now, if this were an outro, I'd probably have music playing in the background, a lot of other things going on. I don't know if I would want the actual sound from my video playing. So down below here, I can grab the sound bar and I can drop that down to 0%. So now the video shows up, but there's no sound. I've got my music going, and later on when I put this onto YouTube, I can annotate this so that it goes directly to this video. And that this goes to my subscribe, this goes to my YouTube channel, and all of that stuff. So, a lot of neat features there. Now, I've got a lot of extra video here that I don't need. So I can go ahead and I can grab that and just drag it back to where we need it to be. So we go ahead and bring it right back to the end there. And this just created a fade, and then we're all good there. Alright, so at this point I've got my first picture-in-picture. Again, yours will be centered here because you will do 9 tiles, kind of like a Brady Bunch type thing. And with the Brady Bunch thing, you're going to have to import and export multiple times to make that actually happen. Okay, and of course my last step with all this, now that I've got it all pieced together, is I'm going to export. So again, reminding us from the first iMovie video that we did here, I'd go to File and then to Share. I have all these different options that are in here. I could post it right to Facebook if I wanted. Okay, I could go to Vimeo, YouTube, wherever I want to go with this. But what we're going to do is we're going to do this as a file. So I go ahead and export this. I pick my settings. I'm going to pick a smaller file size here. You're going to pick actually the 720 size so that it's a decent size for you. And then you got to stay consistent on that every time you export it. Okay, so I'm going to just export this at 480p, and then I'd click Next, and then of course I choose my location of where I want to save this to. That's the process. That's everything for doing picture-in-picture in iMovie 10. Thanks for joining us. This has been another edition of Red Hawk Media.